What is good, everyone? Welcome back to Animedia. I'm your host, EZP, and today I have a very special episode for you because we will be reacquainting ourselves with the incredible Julian, aka Ghost Aeolus, Animetas' previous marketing director and now CEO, who will be leading the charge of Animetas to stardom. I hope you will enjoy. Hello, Aeolus.
Hi,
Julian, how are you doing today?
doing great. Happy Monday.
Lovely, man.
I'm a week
Thank
from
you for coming
getting
on the
married,
channel.
so
Oh
ready to
shit, yeah,
leave.
I completely forgot.
Yeah.
Congrats, man. That's crazy. Wow, how old are you again? You do want me asking?
Old. No, I'm 26. I mean, I feel like I'm old. As I've just been young for so long, I guess, like in terms of the gaming industry.
Yeah.
So it's just like I don't know. I feel like I'm the boomer now, so it's tough.
I feel you, man. I mean, it's probably in this day and age only just about a quarter of your life, so I wouldn't worry.
Yeah, feels like a,
Nice
a, a
one.
millennia though. So we'll see.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, yeah, thank you for coming on. I'm sure you know what we're doing here today.
Yep.
And first off, congrats on the new position as CEO.
Thank you.
And how are you feeling about it so far? Like,
No, I
what
feel
drove you to become CEO?
I'm feeling really good about my new position as CEO. I think that there's a ton of possibilities within the Animeta universe, and with gaming, I really attracted this project from the start, which is why I started to develop this relationship with Cyber to begin with. Me and
Hmm.
him just talking about gaming, talking about Animetas, and that's what brought me into the project originally. Um, I do feel good about being CEO. It's kind of my natural status within a lot of companies I exist in as the leader of
Yeah,
the
man,
company.
congrats.
So I just feel a little bit more comfortable and in my element right now. I feel that the team is feeling a little more organized, and I hope that we can continue to build this culture that we're building internally, where everybody on the team is being accountable. We're keeping tabs, we're being consistent, and we're getting things done. Which obviously, I think that you and Pants have been like an incredible addition to the team because
Thank you, man.
that's
Means
where
a
a
lot.
lot of that has come from. And honestly, I think at this point, it's just about building upon that, and building that accountability and building that foundation. Because not to say that there wasn't one pre-existing before me, but I think that we're really starting to lay down the proper fundamentals to ensure that it can actually proceed long term and not just be this
Hmm.
short push of motivation or aspiration that fiddles away with time. So I feel like it feels really good right now,
Totally.
and I feel good too.
Yeah, man. I feel very good. I mean, I feel a lot more safe to say as your CEO, and I feel like the whole community does as well. And your skills are amazing. So
Yep.
yeah, super
Thank you.
excited on that. Next questions. So we'll take some questions from the community. First off is Lauricist. Obviously star community member. Thank you
Yeah.
for everything you do, man. We fucking love you.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey Aeolus, congrats on the CEO position. What do you suppose the timeline is for the updated roadmap?"
Yeah, so there's a few items we're trying to iron out still. I'm going to be really harsh on setting dates that I don't have official, like, we can do this by then, because that's one thing that I talked about in my announcement as being really important to me, which is, hey, if we say it's October 1, it's October 1, and it's delivered October 1 appropriately. But I will say we're really
100%.
we're really close on finalizing the last few items that need to kind of be discussed in order to do a roadmap update. Once those items are finalized, you'll have the update. I mean, it should only take our creative team like a week or two to get that done. So I would say at most, tentatively within the next, the plan would be for at some time end of November, but there's items that need to be finalized in terms of timeline so that we can ensure that when we communicate that there's validity to them and the fact that there is dates attached to them and there's actually demand that can be warranted.
Mhm.
What we could do right now, I guess, is we could have just released the roadmap and be ominous, but I don't believe this works. Like, I just don't.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked for Animetas in the past, and I don't think it works for a lot of projects right now. I think that's really catching up to them.
Mhm.
And so, what I would love to do, and what we are going to do, is going to release the roadmap when we are ready within this next month, with dates, with timelines, and then that way, God forbid we miss one of them, you can be like, hey, like, you guys suck. But that won't happen. But that's my answer to the roadmap. We're working pretty intensively on kind of understanding the timelines around some of the items, and then we're good to go.
Totally, man. No, I totally agree, and that would be super amazing. And I'm desperately hoping that Gustavo can make a really cool oh, voice crack, a really cool piece for it
Yeah.
because that would just be sick. I mean, we've seen some cool artistic roadmaps from other projects, and I reckon we could probably make possibly the best one
Yeah.
with his art.
100%.
Nice one, man. Great answer. So, next one was also from Laura Sist. His second question was, how do you plan on integrating animators into your gaming universe? In my opinion, some of your top talent at Ghost would look sick rocking animators, profile pictures, and merch.
Yeah, no, I think that the game integration is an awesome opportunity. I think that as somebody who is so deeply ingrained within, I would say, both communities at time, I recognize the hurdles culturally that exist between the gaming universe and the NFT universe, and a lot of them aren't cultural because, like, they're not realistic hurdles. They're lack
Hmm.
of information hurdles. I would say a lot
Yeah.
of gamers don't really understand NFTs and what they've learned from NFTs is only news that has been preceded by scamming or negative kind of connotation that exists within our world. And
Hmm.
so for me, I do obviously leveraging my network is going to be one of the most important things that I can do as a CEO of this company. But I also want to ensure that the way I leverage it is authentic and actually makes sense. Which is
Hmm.
why I am so excited about Ana Monsters because I believe it enables this form of gamification and something that we talk about in a lot of the meetings that we're having about Ana Monsters right now is its ability to grasp the non NFT native market because it's such a familiar
100%.
experience.
Hmm.
I can go to Target right now and buy a pack of Pokemon cards. And for me, if I can replicate that experience online, let's just say through Ana Monsters, it's way easier to get somebody to integrate themselves with that than to say have somebody put on a profile picture or buy into a community where they don't really understand exactly what they're getting into. And that's why I think I'm excited about that project and obviously extending the Animetas universe there is because just like Hover Blast, I think it just presents a really cool way in. And you don't have to be aggressive about it. I think a lot of projects have found that just paying an influencer or um, getting an ex influencer to put their profile picture as this NFT doesn't actually create long term
Yeah.
success or long term value. It might be cool
Hmm.
for the meantime and like, oh wow, this is great, and then what supersedes that is normally a dump of the floor price or something like that when people don't get the price action that they desire out of what would have been this influencer quote unquote pump. So I am all
Yeah.
about authentic relationships, and you can 100% plan on me integrating. Not I can't require ghost creators to represent Animetas, but all of my creator friends that would be interested in the project and what we're doing to get involved, especially with the Animonster stuff, because I believe like I already know a lot of my creator friends that love Pokemon. They love Pokemon cards they actually collect. The first people I'm talking to is them.
Hmm.
And the reason why is it's such a parallel that I think people can really get excited about it. And there's a lot of
Yeah.
ways that they can get ingrained. So I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, for real, man. Like, totally. The first thing I'm thinking about when you're talking about Pokemon and animators is these right here, graded animators
Yeah.
and Pokemon. And obviously, that's just like, that's the
Yeah.
least of what we could do. I mean, that's from Nifty Slabs. Great company. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, no, I
I,
totally agree.
I just wanted to touch on that because I have seen
Hmm.
like the comments in the community before of like, why don't we do more influencer marketing? Why isn't
Hmm.
there more people? And the answer, candidly, is because as somebody who is so deeply ingrained in influencer culture, I just won't let us spend or buy
Hmm.
into the narratives that exist between influencers that just don't work. They just don't.
Yeah.
It might
Yeah.
work for 5 minutes, it might work for one day, but a lot of the outcomes that we are trying to cultivate currently are long term success and long term hype that is consistent. And I think that a lot of
Hmm.
projects have fell on the back of trying to be an influencer pushed brand.
Hmm.
And not to say that it doesn't matter or it's not efficient. I just think it has to be done in a healthy way and transparently.
Yeah.
I just know way too many influencers that scam projects that just run
Hmm.
pockets, and then it's like you gain nothing from it. There's no conversion.
Yeah.
Um, and I just think that we have that advantage because of my expertise here because I understand that market so well. It helps us kind of coordinate in the future the appropriate way to activate with influencers, whether it be with gaming or in the NFT space where we can, I guess, in the NFT space.
Hmm.
But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because I have seen that feedback before and I kind of have explained it, but I would love to say that in a voice. It's like, it's not that it's not a priority for us, but
Hmm.
there's so many influencer opportunities that we get on a daily basis, but a lot of them would result in nothing. And there's nothing
Yeah.
worse. There's nothing worse than having to and genuinely push that to our community as a good thing and it really not result in anything. I
Hmm.
would rather like be a little more critical of it. So
Yeah, man. And in my opinion, it's kind of selling out in a way.
yeah,
And it's funny because obviously we've had not necessarily an influencer, but a celebrity rep in animators. That was MC Hammer, who reps the animators profile pic for a while. And of course, he didn't shout us out or anything, but he did retweet the original post and didn't see much action from that. I know he's not a Web3 influencer, but it just shows that,
yeah.
it doesn't really do a lot.
Yeah,
And
something I always laughed about in the Web3 space. It's like one of
yeah.
my criticisms is this like hyper like, oh my god, the celebrity used like the
Yeah, I
celebrity. I'm
know.
like, oh, okay, like cool. I think that
Yeah.
it's obviously I understand the underlying, which is like this play on adaptation. Like if a celebrity is
Mhm.
using it, their audience is seeing that they're using it. I understand that, but it's kind of like the discussion we were having in the chat where like I used to see posts like of NFT companies being like, "Oh, we just made an LLC," and they're like, "Bullish, bullish." And from my world,
Yeah.
I'm just like, "This is normal."
No,
So
that's
there is
yeah.
some things where I'm just like, okay, well, I want to be happy and optimistic too, but I also just that's why I think it's so important that in this updated roadmap we're curating like things that are actually bullish. Like they're not
Mhm.
us taking advantage of how could you say the adolescence of the space. It's so new
Yeah.
and so it's so easy to take an easy route of saying like you're doing something so simple, but because this space is so underdeveloped, it's like seen as like, wow, you're really trying to put effort in. I want to
Mhm.
treat this like as an actual business and say like we already know we're established. We already know we have great supporters. So we actually need to provide items that make sense and are actually like have definition instead of just
Mhm.
throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks with our audience because we just think it creates hype. I just think that a lot of projects have fallen into that kind of trend, and I don't want to see us there. So
Yeah, man. I totally agree, and, not taking shots at anyone, but something that comes to mind we were talking about the other day was that gold-plated situation
yeah,
where you're just sort of, playing
yeah,
on people's, not I don't know. I love the project though, so
yeah,
no shots at those guys, but
yeah,
that I found that kind of funny.
yeah, 100%.
And I wanted to touch on the gaming side of it as well because I feel like that's a common discussion in the NFT space, and it's kind of like so ironic because most gamers are buying some form of sort of NFT or like something like an NFT. Like I know you and me both have probably spent a lot on Fortnite in the past, and that's
Yeah,
probably one of the best examples for NFT possible NFT wearables in games, or
yeah,
just like people buying CS:GO crates and getting those skins. Like those could all be NFTs and stuff. And
yeah,
Fortnite as well. Fortnite's like its own metaverse. I mean, they've had celebrities actually do concerts in their space,
yeah,
and that's yeah, it's just kind of ironic and puzzles me a little bit how
yeah. It's
gamers
funny.
literally don't understand.
I've actually spent way too much money on FIFA Ultimate Team recently.
I've got a lot of friends
Admittingly,
that have as well.
yeah, and that experience is very interesting. I mean, it is in a form. It's not to the extent of which it is here on in
Hmm.
the NFT world where you really own the asset, right? Like
Hmm.
it's on my account. I turn on the PS5. If somebody hacked my account or if FIFA decided to delete my account, it's gone. But in a sense, it is digital ownership, right? If I
Hmm.
unpack a Ronaldo or a Messi, it is a mine, and I could actually transfer and sell it on the marketplace. There's a lot of
Yeah.
like microcosmic ways that the NFT space exists within gaming, which is why I
Hmm.
don't believe it's like gamers don't really believe in what NFTs are. I just don't think they
Yeah.
truly understand what they are. And so I think there's this there's this divide in information, um,
Mm-hmm.
which is also why I think why the marketing for Animonsters and anything we do Animetas related needs to be more digestible, because it's very easy, and I've realized this because if somebody was trying to learn in the NFT space, it was really hard at first because you almost get caught in this crypto speak, like this NFT speak, where it's like I guess to say it's like this language that you already know the people around you understand. But when
Mm-hmm.
people that are new come in, they're just like, what is even going on? Like, what
Yeah.
is FOMO? I mean, it's funny to us because it's like, but
Yeah.
yeah, you don't really understand, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
what's the floor price? And it's these things that I think more informational content will serve the NFT community well. And I think that
Yeah.
obviously on top of like the really preliminary issues that exist, which is entry cost,
Mm-hmm.
which is also a big deal. If I'm a regular person that's working a
Yeah.
regular job, buying an NFT for $10,000 is
Mm-hmm.
probably out of the question.
Yeah.
And so, how can we make a product that is desirable, accessible, and cost efficient, but also serves the traditional kind of, you want your investors to benefit,
Yeah.
obviously.
100%, man.
You don't want to make something where it's like everything's $5 and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It doesn't really play into the
Mm-hmm.
culture. So I think there's a lot of ways you can try to kind of have your cake and eat it too, and so we're really thinking
Yeah.
about that. But just to kind of touch, I think that's one of the reasons why Hover Blast was so cool to me.
Mm-hmm.
As a gamer, it was like the first time I really understood what it would mean to like really own your asset, like loading into Hover Blast and playing with my
Mm-hmm.
hover car. And if I had a track minted with the hover car, I had the track playing in the background. That
Mm-hmm.
kind of sequence was really interesting as somebody who's been gaming my entire life.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that part of it. And I really hope to continue to echo kind of that model in future things that we do, just because I believe it could be so impactful in reaching new people, because
Mm-hmm.
you start to turn your head, right? It's like if I was playing Call of Duty and I made a Call of Duty class, and if somebody else, I posted it on this Call of Duty integration within multiplayer, and somebody could pick my class and use it, and if they go off with it, I get the XP, like a percent of the
Yeah.
XP. It's that
Mm-hmm.
model. That really makes things cool to me. So yeah, I love the gaming side of NFTs. I think that there's a lot of really cool things that can be done with it. Um, Again, it's like it's gonna take somebody and people with knowledge from both spaces to kind of intermeld them together,
Mm-hmm.
because just shooting bullets into the gaming space as an NFT project without really
Mm-hmm.
understanding the cultural divide that exists between them will just result in further divide. So,
Yeah.
something I think about a lot as a gaming centric project, I think the gaming is a really big part of Animetas. And so it's like we need to be more culturally aware, and then
Mm-hmm.
NFT space of like what is going on around us. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Sorry, I think about the gaming
No,
stuff
that's
so
cool.
much.
So yeah, one thing that was in the back of my mind while you were saying that is, oh man, I fucking love cats.
Yeah.
That in the in FIFA especially, it's funny because not really, but in the eyes of the player base, 1 year later, that pack you just spent money on is practically useless. Um, I'd be interested to see EA take a different approach with a
Yeah.
5 year game or something, or even NFTs, But
Yeah,
I mean,
no, it is the
EA is
problem, but it
pretty
also
bad.
kind of speaks to the buyer base, right? Like it's
Yeah,
not like they're unaware that that is the case. So it's very
yeah,
interesting to see, like, that's why I don't. That's why I think that this barrier that exists between these two spaces is just not because of an understanding one. Like they just know what this shit's about and they hate it. I think it's
hmm
more of like they just don't get it yet.
yeah,
And because if you're willing to buy FIFA 23, spend you know way too much. I know people that spend thousands of dollars. I mean, I've already spent like
yeah,
$500 on FIFA Ultimate, and
hmm
knowingly that the next game will come out in 10 months and you'll be
yeah,
basically nullified in your initiative there, and then do it again. I just
yeah,
think that if presented in the most informational way possible, people will start to see like there's an opportunity or something fun to experience within the NFT space where you can understand that this like continuity that exists between your asset and the game, and you
Yeah.
don't have to go through this change and this change. It's one of the reasons why I think World of Warcraft is so great. I know we've talked about it personally, but World of
Hmm.
Warcraft's my favorite game. I have like over 2 years of my life like in game on World of Warcraft since I
That's
was like
MMOs for you.
or since I was like so young. But one
Yeah.
of the amazing parts about World of Warcraft is the continuity. Now it
Hmm.
has like classic and you can restart whatever it is, but if you had been playing WoW for as long as I have,
Hmm.
a lot of what you've done continues with your character. You know, the
Yeah.
mounts you get, the titles you get. If you have gear, you know, you could use it to transmogrify yourself so you could look
Hmm.
different. I love that about WoW because it builds this attachment to what I'm doing in that universe because there's depth to my character. I'm not logging into
Hmm.
something new every year. Even when the new expansion comes out within like I think this next month, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that the rest of the game disappears. It just
Hmm.
is an expansion of that universe, quite literally, as it's named an expansion. And so I think that that model is really important because then you actually build something where over time you're not dissipating the value that the person is building within this universe that you're
Hmm.
building. A lot of games don't take that trajectory, and the reason is profit, obviously, and
Yeah.
also a lot of I think that in general, from a societal perspective, people are becoming a lot more. It's harder to grasp people's attention, even on
Yeah.
YouTube. Like I
Hmm.
see that, and not to get too big into a tangent, but I'll say this: like even on YouTube, it's becoming harder for people to digest long form content because of TikTok. TikTok is changing the
Hmm.
way that digital content works because
Yeah.
if I can, you know, my fiance just won't get off TikTok ever.
Hmm.
And if she can get on TikTok and get 10 seconds and get a laugh or 10 seconds and feel an emotion or and
Yeah.
why would I watch a 10-minute YouTube video anymore, right? Or if I could just watch clips and you're seeing this iteration of short form content kind of come into fruition
Hmm.
because YouTube's doing it now. They're
Yep.
expanding their shorts initiative this year as well. Instagram is as well. And so it's really important that if you want to capture somebody long term and you want somebody's attention for a long time, that you really put significant effort. It's becoming harder
Hmm.
to do that now. And you know, it is
Yeah,
fit
man.
it's kind of like riddling out the people that aren't putting in effort. But at the same time, it does make it a lot more difficult. And I think
Hmm.
that all these processes and all these psychological things that happen in our lives kind of play into the process of running a brand. So it's really
Yeah.
important that we pay attention to them.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
100%. I mean, the main thing with YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all these things, it's click through rate and really grabbing people's attention
Yep.
for the whole duration of what you're putting out. So it makes sense how they're taking over compared to, a 10-minute video, 10-second video, and someone watches it all the way through, bang, straight out to a bigger audience.
Yep.
And
And then you're on
yeah,
to the
it can be
next video.
exactly, man. It's crazy. It's really changing the way
It's
things
funny
work.
how much media you digest in a single night if you're just sitting there on TikTok. You won't even
Yeah.
realize it. You might
Hmm.
scroll past like 400 videos at 10 seconds, 20 seconds each.
Yeah.
Um, that's saved for a crazy psychological conversation because I think it's
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, at
I
long
agree.
form, it's I think it's an interesting opportunity. It's also a way that Animetas can market itself as well. But we have to be knowledgeable of
Hmm.
those things, and that's why I'm excited for a lot of what we're doing in the future. So
Totally, man. I agree. Okay, so next one is from Boot, Galaxy Officer OX7. He said, welcome, sir. Why animators? What's your why? Why are you here with us?
yeah, I feel like I answered a little bit about why at the start, but I will
Yeah, yeah,
say
true.
my why is I really want to build um I want to lead this charge, to be quite forward
Mm-hmm.
with you, between gaming and NFTs, and I think Animetas is the perfect brand to do that with.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's merit to being part of something where you're innovating and building from the ground up. Um,
Yeah.
Not to toot like my own horn, but that's how it was for me in gaming. I mean, I've been making YouTube videos since I was 10 years old, and for a majority of my life, I was told that gaming was a waste of my time and it was
Mm-hmm.
weird and why are you doing it? You know, YouTubers used to be
Yep.
looked down as clowns. Like, what, you play
Yeah.
gaming for a living? And now, obviously things have changed a lot, and there's been this, you're cool now to be a gamer. It's culturally
Yeah.
in the now, but and I feel like that's where NFTs are right now. Obviously, there's way more money involved
Hmm.
at before than what gaming was, but I also believe like this space has so much potential, and being involved
Yeah.
with it is exciting, and being involved with such an amazing opportunity, which is the Animetas universe, is even more exciting. And so, to my reason why Animetas, I'd say that
Hmm.
reason why I'm getting involved with NFT. That's the reason. And I mean, from a core person, I just think like in my core as a regular person, just being involved with a community that shares the interest of cultivating something great is
Yeah.
always exciting. I almost feel like I've lost that in the gaming space because it's so commercial for me now. It's so big. It's really
Hmm.
hard for me to have personal community relationships with what I do at Ghost. We're past
Yeah,
that.
man.
I don't know everybody that is involved or a fan of Ghost. I try to, but
Hmm.
it's too hard. And
Yeah, man.
with Animetas, there's such a significant base, but everybody is invested on a daily basis. And maybe you'll pop in once a week or once a month, but I just love the opportunity to work with a community at a core level like
Hmm.
that. And it's something I think I've been missing for my life. And so just having that opportunity has been really nice. Even from the past week, just like hearing people's feedback, having conversations, people telling me our approach is wrong. Like, I love that shit. I know people
Yeah.
like get I know some people get aggravated because it's like this egotistical reaction to be like, well, I'm not wrong and you're fucking wrong. But for me, it's
Hmm.
like, if I feel strongly about what I'm doing, I'll let you know. And I'll just say, like, hey, I respect you, but I also believe in what I'm doing. And I believe because there's nothing worse than being a leader that is, you don't want to bend too hard, because then that just shows you have no solidity in what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
You
man.
have to have
100%.
solidity, because otherwise you're not a leader. You're just taking the form of whatever that person wants you to be that day. But
Hmm.
there are times where I've read things and I'm like, you know what? I am not thinking about this the right way. Like, I could
Yeah.
be doing better. And, you know, in life and in leadership and in also being a public figure, those opportunities to actually improve yourself come from those conversations. Like, without those, you're never really challenged, and you're never
Hmm.
really actually challenged to think better or bigger than what you are thinking about. Um, which I think in life is why it's so important to not surround yourself with yes men, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where your complacency roots, is when you're no longer being challenged to say, hey, Julian, you know, I don't think you're leading this right. I don't think you're thinking about
Hmm.
this right. Or, hey, I don't think Animetas is doing this right. I might disagree, or I might agree with you. And then it's like, okay, well, you know, that's why some people like hate those conversations. For me, I was just like, I'm just going to jump into this. Like, I
Yeah.
might look bad, whatever, but I might look bad for the instance of like acknowledging that I might be wrong about something, but long term, it's only going to cultivate success. Obviously, you don't want to
Hmm.
consistently be wrong to the point where people are telling you, hey, like,
Yeah.
what are you doing every day?
Yeah,
But
man.
those opportunities, when they present themselves, I think are significant. So I will
Hmm.
say that's why I want to do this stuff with Animetas as well on a personal level outside of business, is just like the opportunity to curate those relationships and really build something from the ground up again. I think is really exciting. So,
Great, man.
yep.
Love that. And yeah, the community loves you just as much as you love them, and we're happy to have you in the spotlight a bit more. 100%. So I know we haven't got much time left. What I just want to say is real quick before we get on to the last question is something I can relate with you saying about how gaming was told, useless, but look at you now. I had a similar experience with something that's maybe even more frowned upon, which is Dungeons and Dragons. I
Yeah.
mean, I played Dungeons and Dragons for a couple years with my friends. I was the forever DM, and making those stories, catering for people on a weekly basis on a big level. I wouldn't be in my position now without it. So
Yeah.
I totally know what you're saying
No,
with
I
that.
mean, me and you have the same experience. I feel like with
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons, it's like how I feel about WoW. Like, World of Warcraft is like,
Yeah.
and once that South Park episode came out, you were like, if you play WoW, you're a geek. Like, you're a
Great
nerd. Like,
episode.
you're either you could be a gamer, but if you play WoW, you're a nerd. Like, you were even like in Call of Duty, like you told somebody you played
Yeah.
World of Warcraft, they would be like, oh, you're for sure.
Yeah, man.
And to
No,
be honest,
I
like
agree.
I didn't really understand
Funny.
Dungeons and Dragons for a long time, but I actually went down this like Critical Role
Oh
YouTube
man.
binging series like one night, and I was like, man, this is really cool. Like, I
Yeah.
personally don't know anybody around me that plays Legends and Dragons, but just seeing how seriously people like I'm a person that's like attached to that passion, like that
Hmm.
like anything that moves somebody or like can really gain some like really garner somebody's interest to the extent where they're that deeply ingrained in like the character. I'm like a a moth to light at that point.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit that I love in life. And so yeah, I mean, I commend you. It's like your own little world that you
Thanks, man.
develop, and so that's cool.
Yeah, I agree. It's fun proving people wrong as well.
Yeah.
So, last question for today is from Shom, a prominent community member. We love you, man. Another Galaxy officer, funny enough. Um, he said, if Animators is indeed on a roadmap towards expanding and growing the brand, has there been any discussion regarding patents or eventually setting things up as an official business entity?
Yeah. So, did you say patterns?
Patents.
Oh, patents. Okay, I was like, I thought you said patterns. My bad. It's like
All
patterns.
good.
Not sure. Yeah, actually, we're in the process of ensuring that everything in America is well taken care of from a legal stature, and I have all the resources we need to really set that up and ensure that we're good there. As we continue to develop the IP, it's ever more so important that we do that. And so you
Hmm.
can count on us to take all the necessary precautions and legal protections needed to ensure that when we talk about long-term Animetaverse and the shows and the games, that we actually have all the patents, the IP, and the copyrights, and obviously established companies to support that. So,
Wicked, man. Great to
yep,
hear. I'm sure they'll love that.
yep,
Well, thank you for coming on today, man. I and the community are super happy to have you as CEO.
yep.
And to say the least, the future of animators is looking incredibly bright. So thanks, man.
Thank you guys for all your questions. So awesome.
Wicked. Much love, man. Peace
Thanks.
out. Have a good one.